Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I should title this video, Donald Trump Wins by a Landslide. And the reason I think that is appropriate for this video is how I began to be drawn into voting, which I had never done before Donald Trump, in the first term that he ran. I was excited about law and order. I knew much about law and order because when I got out of order, I had broken the law. So Donald Trump is a law and order leader. I don't really call him a politician. I call him a leader. And the thing that amazes me, and I've learned a lot since then about Democrats and Republicans. I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm a yay and amen. Some might think this video should be titled Anger, Be Ye Angry, but Sin Not. How about that? Because we have reason to be angry. All colors have a reason to be angry. There's white people that are prejudiced. There are black people that are prejudiced. All people have, I believe, been prejudiced against another people. I mean, it's like hating people without a cause is what I really think it's about now. People hate Donald Trump without a cause. Well, I hate evil. I hate my own evil doing and stuff like that. I've come short. However, Jesus is Lord for me. However, make America great again. In other words, I saw Donald Trump make America great from jobs being taken out of the country, sent over to China, and sourced out to all type of people. In fact, Obama was desiring to source out the military projects and contract for building our military weapons and stuff to India. Imagine that. I believe that's probably a heavy populated Muslim country. Yes. So knowing what I know now, and as I said about Donald Trump being a law and order, a president, a leader, and I believe that Donald Trump will win by a landslide. First of all, being a law and order president is one of the reasons why I decided to vote for him. I knew that the country was out of order, that they had broken, even the leaders were breaking every law and charging everybody else, the middle people, charging them for things that they hadn't done. So, if they had anything on them, for instance, a Joe Biden a bill that was carried in 1993-94 under the Bill Clinton presidency, was against black people, totally against black people. I was one of them, caught up in that mess where blacks were sentenced 100 to 1 for a less nonviolent crime, even compared to whites who who were charged with the same crime. That's the crime, to me. That's just a catastrophe, if I might say. However, Donald Trump, when he said he'd like to protect America, why wouldn't anybody want America to be protected? It's amazing how when he was running, because to me, there was no difference between Democrat and Republican. And when he started to run, every other Republican that I can remember besides Dr. Ben Carson seemed to be against what Donald Trump was desiring for America. Protect the borders, bring the jobs back again. I thought those very things were important. From my understanding, people can't go into other countries without a clearance, especially to live. You can't even go into some countries to visit without going through legally. I mean, if you sneak in, I imagine the consequences, you suffer the consequences, probably much more graver than what is happening right now in America. So to me, it made sense And then how about that Hillary being investigated? They call it a matter when it was really a criminal matter. Espionage to me is when you have Americans' secrets, information that is classified on an illegal server, and everybody can possibly have access to it. And we learned that people hacked it. And you know, it's amazing to me, under the law, it's sad that the Democrats believe that the person who revealed those criminal things that were going on should be charged, but the criminal should not be charged. What kind of sense does that make? They were more caught up on who hacked it instead of what was revealed through the hacking. Just kind of like the same things going on right now with Joe Biden, who lied about knowing about his son's business when it was really Joe Biden behind it all, using his influence, his position to get his son in positions, whether it cost other people their livelihood, whether it was about firing those who were investigating those wicked, those businesses, to my understanding, were wicked. But since America was investing so much into it, they feel like they could, obviously, Joe Biden would do it to his advantage and to his family's advantage. What was that, $1 billion they was withholding from Ukraine? And instead of charging in the media and the government, instead of investigating Joe Biden, they want to charge Donald Trump for looking into it. What kind of sense does that make? There's always something behind people who don't want to do what's right. We find out John Kerry's people is involved. I believe that's John Kerry. Eventually, if it comes back to me, the person that's really involved, his people are they're combining their families, and they're doing a lot of stuff, just ripping us off. And then with China, Joe Biden makes a way for his son to get $1 billion contract, billion something. Then they find out, even in Moscow, that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, received 3 point something million from the mayor's wife. For what? Find out that all that Joe Biden said was a lie. But however, Donald Trump, I believe, is going to win by his landslide, because even when I first voted, I met a lot of people who were talking about they were going to vote for Hillary. And my question to them would be, why would you vote for Hillary? Most people would say, well, she's the first female. She had the first opportunity for a female to become president. They cared nothing about what she was doing for us. Claiming, for one, that she was for women, and all the time taking money from countries like Saudi Arabia, who denied women their rights. More of an Islamic Muslim nation. And when I heard Obama speak, the first time I heard Obama speak, I said, wow, that sounds like a Muslim to me. Everything he did, he prayed like a Muslim, he exalted Islam, he did it all. His name says it all. Barack Hussein Obama. If we haven't been deceived, then there's no such thing as deception. Barack Hussein Obama, everything he did expressed hate for America and hate for Christians. So he didn't care what color. If blacks want to know whether he appreciated them or not, just know if you were a Christian, you were being persecuted. See, this country, I mean, we might have been having some conflicts and things before, and even growing in a greater way, being, slowly but surely, I'd say, some might say, compensated, for the wrongdoings that have been done. White people, there were white people who cared, would do things for us, sometimes more than some black people would do things for us. There's some blacks that would cross you out much more than whites. And vice versa, I'm sure they have those kind of people too. But I believe that Donald Trump is going to win by a landslide, because it made sense to me. I understand the racism and all that stuff. They talked about what he was, what he done, all how he grabbed women and all that, being a billionaire, and obviously he had lived that life where it was tolerable. Um, it was tolerable because people who were around him and that close to him, they know he was. I'm sure it was about money for the honey. How about that? You know, prostitution is legal in many places. However, people have been rich and gotten away with things. And so now all of a sudden I realize this as a president, I believe that he's really standing up for what's right. And like all the other Republicans were against what Donald Trump was doing. So to me, there was a time where what mattered was you were Democrat or Republican. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I've just learned a little bit more about the history of things, even concerning Abraham Lincoln. I understand that he was a Republican, and if he was helping the slaves to be free, it would make more sense for slaves, blacks, to be a Republican then. And of course, later on, I understand we were thrown under the bus when they conspired together. That's what reminds me of how the Democrats and the Republicans were conspiring together against the people before Donald Trump. And as Donald Trump, if it wasn't for Donald Trump being chosen and by the grace of God, I believe sent by God to be the leader, the president of the country, we would have never known how deceitful they were. They were all conspiring. You couldn't tell the difference. But one person came to say we're going to stand up for what's right. There's going to be law and order in this country. We're going to bring the jobs back. And even Barack Hussein Obama had the nerve to say, how are you going to bring the jobs back? And to my mind, later on, as I learned why he might have said is that he had a part to do with knowing already that the country had betrayed us, was sending the jobs out because they could get more money. The government could get more money sending it out to countries like China, the ones they were blaming for slave camps and everything else. And yes, they were, and yet they were using China to build things, taking them away from us, the jobs, the industry, audio industry and everything, taking them away from us, but yet still charging us same prices of everything and not charging them for selling like Donald Trump. I didn't know nothing about tariffs. And we needed to charge them for like they were charging us, and people were angry about that. Why would people be angry about making America great or leveling the playing field? Why? There always has to be a reason, and it can't be positive. It got to be negative when people do not want you to have equal or even better, and especially if you're the greatest country in the world. Potentially. Donald Trump has brought the jobs back, made us the number one in energy. We even have our own energy. That's why gas prices are like $2 or less than $2 a gallon now. But under Barack Hussein and Obama, them, oh my God, I don't even want to dwell on that. I just want to let you know that they have been out, they've been beat out. How about that? Outperformed, if I might find a word for it. And people need to wake up. I ask most people why they vote Democrat, and most of them say, well, my parents voted it. My mother and my father, my grandparents have voted. I'm thinking, wow, did they know how to read or write? And when they learned to read and write, did they read and write and research what was really going on? Kind of reminds me of most Christianity, people that believe in Christianity, that is. They don't read and study and meditate, pray for themselves personally between them and God. They do it to prove it to other people, maybe prove it to the pastor that they know something. Well, if you really know something, you might find out that the pastor is no greater than you. Matter of fact, you might even know less than you in certain areas and need you as you need him to be what God called to be members of a body, one body. So law and order is being rejected. And when you find out that they were spying on the president, lying, Barack Hussein Obama lying, saying that he didn't know any, he wasn't doing it. His Valerie Jarrett, Susan Rice, they're the ones unmasking people, claiming they knew nothing about it, but then all of a sudden, it's recorded. However they record it, find out, yeah, they're the ones, and then they admit and say, well, it wasn't for this reason or that reason. First of all, it was not, supposedly it was denied. You don't believe nothing people say who lied to you, and then they try to tell you what reason it was for. No, just bust it. That's just the way it is. I mean, repentance is one thing, but to continue to, well, I didn't do this, and then you find out every time, oh, Lord, have mercy, Lord. We are learning to forgive people, but we don't have to forget, you know, keeping a guard up for, and letting people know you're watching them. I mean, amazing. It makes you wonder about Benghazi, too, where Ambassador Stevens and the military people were over there protecting, and they're, I believe, at an embassy or something of America, and calling for help because they were being attacked. And no one answers? That, to me, is treason. I believe there's enough people in America who can see the truth, and they might have to forgive some of the leaders for what they've done. As long as they're ready to do what's right now, let's forgive. Now if people still walking in that life of, for instance, Barack Hussein, for an example. He went around the country, apologized to people for what America had done, and then all of a sudden gave them, it's like giving the enemy weapons, ammunition to get revenge. If you knew that a country would out to destroy you and kill you, would you give them the ammunition they needed to kill you? No. But if you find someone who's going to give it to them anyway, then you have to say that's not a person that's of the family. That's a person on the suicide mission, but there's another reason why he did it, because he was one of them. If we don't wake up and realize this, we'll be on the wrong side. But to be on the right side is to know that we must vote for the one who's standing for America, who's protecting the borders. You can't allow illegals to come over here, gangs to come over here, where they're just ruining neighborhoods, the same thing they did where they were. That's why the legal aliens over here don't want the illegals over here either. Anybody in their right mind, can you imagine destroying the police force, the whole police force, because a few police officers have been able to get away with it for years? And I'm going to say this right here. The same people who've been running the country for these years were the ones who had the police officers in position at the time. And now that they've lost their position and authority because one man has come to do it right, to make it right, to expose what's in the dark, bringing it to the light. Now they act like those ones who've been over the police, allowing them to do this for you, they act like they're on the side of the people now. Go ahead and destroy and tear up everything. That's because they're mad, they've lost everything. See, it's like a bad relationship. If you can't have it, a bad relationship goes bad, or you haven't been doing what you're supposed to do, and all of a sudden they don't want to be with you anymore, and you feel like if I can't have them, can't nobody have them. You want to destroy everything. And some people even go to blow their brains out afterwards. That's what's going on right now in front of people. This needs to be shared with everyone so that we would just go to the polls and vote for the one that's protecting our country, not for the ones who are ordering chaos. Obama and all of them afterwards, after they lost, even doing the Hillary thing, lying. What president has ever been known to, after office, go and then campaign for someone? It had to be a president who's afraid of one or two things or many things. Obama's afraid that if he don't get someone else of his kind in office, he'll be exposed to the core of what he really did. That's why he's fighting so hard. And that's why they're fighting. They all knew that Obama was conspiring against the next president. If it wasn't going to be Hillary, it wouldn't have mattered who it was. Because as long as it was somebody who stood up for what's right, they were going to discover what was in the darkness. Conspiring, hiring all these other special counselors, getting rid of people like Jeff Sessions, who was a coward, traitor, because he didn't want to do his job. Hold them accountable while they're setting up the president, candidate Donald Trump at the time, because Hillary was about to be exposed for what Barack Hussein Obama and them were all conspiring with her to do, is to be treasonous, taking money, pay for play, from selling Russia uranium materials to build bombs and everything like that. Why would people say that's okay? Why? Now you wonder why Joe Biden, who said, when Donald Trump said, China's going to eat your lunch. Now, China's not going to eat our lunch, and China's our number one enemy, as Donald Trump will say. They're our number one adversaries. Joe Biden, no, they're not. No, they're not. Then all of a sudden, he changes his tune and says, yes, they are. But the, it was being revealed more and more how and why people like Joe Biden would say China was not this and they were not that. Then he changed his tune because they were getting closer to the truth and it was going to be exposed. He figured like he can go ahead and agree so much. That's why they're not talking about China releasing the virus. They're talking about Donald Trump being the one who didn't handle it right. When he handled it in a way that others said not to, and then the doctors like Dr. Fauci said he did the right thing, even though Dr. Fauci was against it at the time, banning the travel against China and then others. People perish for lack of knowledge. Yeah, black folks, we have been some of the most ignorant people when it comes to the knowledge of the law. We had the experience of the law on the other side, even where they discriminated against us. If we were wrong, we deserve punishment, but the punishment, the disparity, racists. And now we're people, black people, not me, are choosing the same people to be in office that have enslaved them mentally and physically all these years. Why would anyone be mad at a person that says they want to bring all the jobs back? Because it would eventually reveal how the jobs got to where they are anyway. They just knew there was a roadblock for the jobs not coming back. Obama was putting so many regulations on the businesses here, they would flee, contributing to them leaving. Donald Trump took the regulations off the business that were here, made America great in that way, and brought jobs back. Now they want to destroy the economy so that it was to a level that it had not been before historically. So if they could bring it down, they could bring it down to a low that has never been before, because if it's been higher, then it has a further way to fall. Makes sense. But we have to be sober-minded to understand and see that. Donald Trump will win by a landslide because the truth makes you free. People have been lied to and in bondage to lies and deception for years, even murdered for standing up for what's right. That's how dangerous some people can be. For the love of money is the root of all evil. We need to understand it's okay to make America great, make it number one to its own citizens. When it comes to negotiating, you have to negotiate with other countries, but other countries should put their citizens first. And if they don't, that means they're selfish as can be. They have a world agenda. They want to conquer the whole world. And so they're using the virus, Corona, right now, politically to try to destroy America, not Donald Trump. They used Donald Trump to get to America. Imagine that. Using the virus. The flu was even worse than that. They didn't shut down it. Swine flu, Ebola, all this stuff was serious. They didn't shut it down. And it was worse. In spite of all that happens, America is still number one in recovery, number one in protecting, even helping other countries. Governors like Michigan and governors of New York, they sent our elderly who was more subject to the virus and death, they sent them right into the enemy's camp at the nursery homes and stuff. No concern, and didn't want to make us afraid. They say that children, young people are less likely to be influenced by it. They want to shut it down still. Some things you have to mingle with. Some germs you have to have, obviously, to fight off other diseases, to build up your immune. I'm sure even I know something about that. I'm not a doctor, but we got doctors that are liars. We've got doctors that tell the truth. You have to learn and listen, and by the grace of God, have the wisdom of God to be led to do the right thing. This ain't by power, by might of man. This is by the Spirit of God that we survive. I believe it's God who sent Donald Trump. I believe, and that's why I believe it'll be a landslide, that we'll win it. And the enemy's going to be mad, but I say this to hell with the enemy, because that's where the enemy's going back to, the pit of hell. The same enemy that has snared us into slavery into sin, come to steal from us, kill us and everything. It's just manifested in the flesh. But I think Donald Trump wins by a landslide, just like he did before. I was on a job working. I was listening to people when they was talking about Hillary and all that. I said, well, why would you be upset if we protected our country? Do you have locks on your doors? Do you have locks on your doors? You do?